Stomach issues are the worst, which is why many people will try anything to resolve their gut discomfort. What if the thing that people most often cut out,
Gluten.
isn't the real issue at all? And by cutting it out, you successfully minimize your symptoms temporarily while missing the big picture of what your body is actually trying to tell you.
All right, I am under copious amounts of stress.
In today's video, I'm going to explore some hidden stressors within most of our gluten products, as well as practical ways that you can get to know your body to increase your resilience at the root of the issue. In my research to understand my body and my daughter's, I came across a book that was a game changer for me called Dirty Genes by Dr. Ben Lynch. I'll include a link below if you want to read it too. He explained how we can inherit some genetic predispositions and they can also become genetically modified, epigenetically, due to lifestyle and environment. Obviously, the dirty genes is simply a metaphor, but it fits in so well with what I've learned about epigenetics, that our internal and our external environment determines which genes get activated. It's the idea behind why not every single person with a BRCA gene gets breast cancer. Dirty Genes is a practical guide to things that you can do to tailor your diet and your lifestyle to overcome or counteract any dirty genes that you may have inherited or activated by your lifestyle. After reading the book, I decided to dive deep into what I inherited by downloading my raw data that I already had on hand from 23andMe and Ancestry.com and running it through a tool to get a report. Dr. Ben Lynch has a company called Seeking Health that can do just this. I'm including a link below so that you can see which dirty genes you've inherited and make some informed decisions about what you want to consume. If you're paying close attention, you might already be a bit confused by something I said earlier about stressors in our gluten products. That's right, Dr. Hans Selye, who's the endocrinologist who brought the term of stress into the medical terminology, he defines stress as any demand for change on the body. Stress is not just a mental health issue. It's a demand on the body which can be good or bad. Take a happy surprise, for instance. It's still a demand on the body. However, something that could be good stress for some, like a big surprise party, for another person with a bad heart could be a very bad stressor. The key in knowing how to navigate the stressors of life is to get to know your body so that you can know exactly what you might need to support or optimize your ability to process the stressors of your life. So the reason I started this very YouTube channel was to help with others who are dealing with similar health issues as my daughter. Long story short, she was having extreme gut issues that her pediatrician and allergist simply couldn't figure out. I did some online research and decided to test out what I thought it was by cutting out high histamine foods, and gluten is on that list. Given she was only one at the time, it was actually relatively easy to do. One of the staples in our diet was oats, and I made oatmeal pancakes almost every morning since she was allergic to eggs. After a few weeks and a great reduction in her symptoms, in going on this restrictive diet, I made those pancakes again, but she reacted and she got hives on her face and I spiraled. I was talking to my best friend who was my sounding board as she was also doing a lot of research in this area. I was so confused as to why she was reacting when she'd been doing so well on the low histamine diet. My friend asked me if the oats I was using were gluten-free. I had just grabbed some Quaker oats off the shelf, not even thinking twice, because in my mind, gluten-free is more of breads and pastas. I decided to make the swap to our now staple 1 degree organic oats, which are very transparent in their sourcing strategy, and I have not looked back since on that decision. However, a restrictive diet is so hard. I'll never forget how I'd feel walking through the grocery store and how activated and upset I would get if I saw another mom picking up oranges or bananas for their child, as those things would cause my daughter a reaction and significant pain. I'd often think, must be nice. I'd wonder if she'd ever be able to eat the foods that most people don't even think twice about. The good news is that we did get there, but keeping her healthy and safe was my full-time job. It was exhausting and overwhelming at times. I often prayed, just give me a roadmap, tell me what to do, I will follow it. And nothing like that existed, and that is why I created it myself. But I'll get to that later. Why I wanted that roadmap is I was good at following a plan and sticking to it. I was so great at the low histamine diet. I'd prep everything from scratch for her as much as possible. I was constantly researching because her diet and food was something that I could control. One thing that often came up in the online support groups I joined to help us navigate this were numerous instances of people going on vacation in Italy and cheating on their restrictive diets that helped keep their symptoms minimized. They'd binge on gluten to their heart's content, eating all of the Italian breads and pastas and pastries on their vacation. Interestingly enough, they had no adverse reactions. After seeing this over and over again, I checked in with our holistic doctor that we were working with to help my daughter heal, and she muscle tested on a brand of double O flour from Italy, and she got a really good feeling about this. I cannot tell you how happy my husband and I were at the idea of being able to do a normal pizza night without worrying about if she's going to go into anaphylactic shock, or trying to figure out how to make a vegetable like cauliflower turn into a crust that's half edible that our toddler would eat. Just the idea that we could all eat the same thing and enjoy it. And so we did. And guess what? She didn't react. What? How is that possible? This gluten thing that so many people have had to cut out and makes them sick, that left me wondering, what is in our flour? As James Kennedy famously said on Vanderpump Rules,
"It's not about the pasta. It's not about the pasta."
I'm not one to just call a personal win a win and move on. Otherwise, I'd have a healthy daughter and I'd not be taking my time to make these videos to help others. I just have to understand through research why. It's my nature. And ironically, as I was exploring human design, which helps people understand their profile, it's a key component of just who I am, and it confirms everything that I know about myself. So I set out to understand what is different about our flour in the United States versus Italy. I found two major things. I've made a couple of videos about both of them, but they weren't my most watched videos. Maybe it's the algorithm, or maybe we just don't want to feel afraid of the food that we love most, bread. However, ignoring these two things is not going to solve any health issues you have. Sure, you might feel better not eating gluten because it's a large source of these two things that are adding to your body's total stressor load, but it's not the only source. There are two main stressors in the gluten products from the United States and many countries around the world. First, pesticide residue, specifically this one, and secondly, the synthetic vitamin added to enrich gluten products, folic acid. The main pesticide used in crop production comes from this company, who spends a lot of money to ensure that their monopoly is in place and that there isn't anything to worry about in our food. However, I find it interesting that Italy banned the use of it in 2016. And we know the people in the support group found that they were able to tolerate gluten there just fine, as well as my daughter with any flour imported from Italy. Makes you think, huh? Now, talking about folic acid, this is something that really gets me fired up. I wish I could do an in-depth video about this that people would actually want to watch, because this is a perfect case of what is good for most is not good for all. Enriching our breads with a synthetic vitamin on the surface sounds good. The reality is that it's a significant stressor for nearly half of our population. I have a confession to make. I love bread. There is nothing like a fresh loaf out of the oven. And my all-time favorite bread is when I lived in Spain for a year, and we would have fresh bread delivered to our doorstep daily by the neighborhood baker. I'm pretty confident that I ate it with nearly every meal. So good. Buenissimo. If you're a bread lover too, please let me know in the comments below so I know that I'm not alone. Honestly, the words "I cannot possibly give up real bread" have left my lips many, many times, which can be challenging when your whole world changes. I personally have learned that I have a few of the mthfr genetic variants. This impacts my body's ability to detox properly and the overall methylation process. Additionally, it means that my body cannot process the synthetic version of folic acid. So this breadaholic was stressing my body out by consuming processed, enriched, and pesticide residue containing bread without any idea of what it was doing to my body. It was my daughter's health that brought this to my attention. I was shocked to find out about 40% of the population has some version of this genetic variant. Nearly half, like I said earlier. So Monique, have you cut out all enriched non-organic breads? No, it's just not realistic to never eat pizza out again. And I think that sometimes when we do restrictive diets, it becomes this control disordered eating, I must control everything that goes into my body, or I am to blame for any of my reactions. However, I think it's all about balance. And so in our house, we choose to follow an 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time we're eating quality, organic, and not enriched products. However, I do work with a holistic doctor to support my body's detoxification and methylation pathways via supplementation and lifestyle modification. So therefore, I can make informed decisions about what I choose to consume. By significantly reducing my exposure to enriched products, I feel so much better. Miraculously, that brain fog that I was first told is pregnancy brain, and then later is called mom brain, that so many of my mom friends complained about, it goes away. What if that mom brain and brain fog are just blind spots? Societal norms that we think this brain fog is normal for moms because of the mental and emotional load. What if we're actually just over-consuming a synthetic vitamin that nearly half of the population cannot process? Not only is folic acid put into all of our gluten products, every bread, cereal, oat product, this is not even taking into account the amount of folic acid that is consumed in a pre- or postnatal multivitamin on top of how much we're unknowingly consuming. It makes me so frustrated that so many people don't know about this and can't make informed decisions. The good news is that it's easy to find out for yourself, and I'm so grateful for Dr. Ben Lynch and Seeking Health for their role in helping me learn more about myself and to take big steps on my own wellness journey. For transparency, this video is not sponsored. This is just my personal experience and thoughts on the topic. However, I do earn a small commission if you choose to buy the book or the test via the link below, and your support would mean a great deal as I set to build out Stressology as an organization that empowers and enables you to reclaim your power from the stressors of your life. Because knowledge is power. While we don't want to be living in fear of every single product, if we don't know, then we can't make informed decisions. If you need more support diving into the stressors that are weighing you and your body down so that you can reclaim your health and your life, feel free to reach out to me and it would be my honor to work with you. If this was helpful and informative, I hope you consider subscribing, following along, or diving in deeper to get to know yourself using some of the resources in the links below. I'll see you on the next one.